Hello. It's that time of year where we are getting ready to host our extended families for the holidays, or perhaps going to visit extended family, brothers, sisters, grandparents, you name it. This is a time of year over the holidays where we tend to spend a lot of time with our extended families. And I have been hearing from lots of you parents out there that this is a really stressful part of the holidays for you, is how to manage family members or whole sides of the family that you find difficult or challenging or don't get along with. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Sarah Rosensweet. I'm a peaceful parenting coach, and I have 4 big ideas for you that will really help with all of the extended family stress over the holidays. So the first big idea is to remember that everyone's doing the best they can. I can't tell you a transformational idea that has been for me in my personal life, not just with challenging people that I know or with strangers on the street who are rude, but to really remember that everyone's doing the best they can. You have no idea what's happening in that person's life, or the challenges that a person's had to deal with over their life, or just bad day difficulties, and it really helps me to be a more compassionate person, and really honestly makes me feel better when I remember that everyone's doing the best they can, and it makes me feel like I'm in a much better place to deal with difficult people, or even difficult situations with people who are not normally difficult. But really, first big idea, remember that everyone's doing the best they can. And honestly, that's almost a selfish attitude. It's not trying to be a martyr or anything like that, but it's selfish in that I really do that for myself. I don't do that for the other people, but I do that because it makes me feel better to be compassionate, and it makes me feel more understanding, and honestly, it makes me a lot easier for me to deal with challenging people when I remember that they're doing the best they can. So that's the first big idea. By the way, all of these big ideas are available for you to download on my website. Go to sararosensweet.com/holidays, and you will see, you can download this tip sheet of these big ideas, and also the last 3 videos that I've done. Last week it was on the holiday greedy children and what to do with all those big feelings. The week before was tips to cut down on the stress levels that you and your family feel around the holidays. So sararosensweet.com/holidays. The second big idea of how to deal with extended family stress or challenging people in your extended family is to remember that you need to manage yourself. This is actually, the next 3 ideas are the big ideas of peaceful parenting, but they really apply to all of the relationships in our lives. So manage yourself. What does that mean? It means that, of course, you'll be upset, but don't act when you're upset. So it doesn't mean that you never get upset. It means that when you are upset, you take some time to take care of your own feelings, process them in the moment if you can, or at least to calm yourself down so that you're not feeling hijacked by your emotions when you try and deal with whatever the situation is. So one really important thing to remember is that you can use a mantra to help calm yourself down. So you can say to yourself, it's not an emergency. You know, maybe your mother is yelling at the children, or your father's criticized your parenting. And remember, this is not an emergency. It might feel like an emergency because it's so upsetting and my body is telling me that it's an emergency, but it's not an emergency. So stop, drop, and breathe. So stop what you're doing, drop your agenda, take a few deep breaths, remind yourself that everyone's doing the best they can, and really just try and calm yourself before you deal with the situation. When we deal with situations, when we are upset and we're not managing our own feelings, that's when we get into fights with people. That's when we do and say things that we'll regret. So the first big idea is you are in charge of your own your own feelings, and you're in charge of managing your feelings when things are hard. The second big idea is to focus on connection. So maybe you have a really difficult time with your father-in-law or your brother, but try and find one thing that you like about that person. Chances are you can find one thing. If you focus on what you like about people instead of what you don't like about people, you'll find that your feelings of goodwill toward them expand. I think the saying is what you focus on grows. So if you can find something that you like about Uncle Bill, even though he is, says racist and homophobic things or something like that, if you can focus on something that you like about him, you'll find it a lot easier to be around him, because we know you can't change other people. You can only really change, and this goes back to the first point of managing yourself, you can really only take charge of yourself in a relationship. But often I find that if we do change what we bring to the relationship, it does change the relationship. So if you can find something nice about whoever in your family you find challenging and really focus on that, that's really helpful. And also I think it's really helpful to remember that we don't have to agree with people to love them or like them. We can have people in our family that we would never want to talk about politics with, or who have some pretty shaky ideas when it comes to, ideas about boys and girls and what they should do, and pulling ideas out here. We don't have to agree with them to like them or love them. So focus on your connection with the people in your life that you find challenging, and focus on what you like about them. The final big idea, and this is the one I think that is the most challenging for all of us, or at least that's what I've been hearing you saying, is kind, firm limits. So even if you find what you like about somebody, you assume that they're doing the best they can, and you manage yourself, you're still going to come up against your parents complaining that your kids don't have enough discipline, or they need a good old-fashioned punishment, or whatever the situation is. You're still going to find that people in your life who are challenging are going to say things and do things that you disagree with. So you have to have kind, firm limits. What does that look like? That looks like saying things like, hey, I'm listening to what you're saying. I appreciate your input, but I've got this. That's one thing you can say. You can say, my mentor, Dr. Laura Markham, says that she recommends that parents say to their parents, you had your chance when you raised me, and this is my chance. I might make mistakes, but this is my chance to raise my kids, and thank you for respecting our choices as a family, and what my parenting decisions are. I'm not sure if I would personally be able to say you had your chance, but I can see how if you say that in a kind way and with, firmness in your intention, that can be very effective. I tend to say things like, or I used to, if people criticize my parenting, I'd say something like, oh, I'll take that into consideration. It's non-committal. You're not arguing with them, but you're also not going to, take them up on and do what they say. Take that into consideration. So kind, firm limits really looks like standing up for yourself. You don't have to be a martyr. You also don't have to engage in fighting with people who disagree with you about politics, religion, parenting, anything that comes up at the holidays that can be a source of strife. And if you need to, take yourself off. Take yourself and your child off to another room. Take a break. Do what you need to do to get some space. That can be part of the kind, firm limits also, is I'm spending time with you. I love you. We're going to celebrate the holidays together, but I also need to protect my space and my child's space. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Remember, everyone's doing the best they can. Manage yourself and your own emotions. Focus on connection and set up those kind, firm limits when you are with your extended family. And you can't change them, and you can only change what you bring to your side of the relationship. And I think that connection in families is important enough that even when they're difficult, we work as hard as we can to find what we like about each other and be there for each other. And you know what? We have a lot to learn from people who are different than us. So I think that's really important to remember at the holidays, and the spirit of compassion that is so important, and what we bring to our families. And I know that if I were being difficult, or when I am difficult and having a hard time, I love it if people came to me with the attitude that I'm doing the best I can. So let's all go out there and spend the next week or so gearing up and putting these big ideas into practice, and do the best we can and bring our best selves to what can be really trying situations. Okay, enjoy your holidays, and I will see you in the new year. Once again, you can download these tips at sararosensweet.com/holidays. Thanks.